Hello, everybody. This is version 2.6 of War of Champions, and yes, I know it was released on April 30th, 2021, and we're filming this um, in June. However, there is a new update coming out for War of Champions, and I will say it will be coming out soon, hopefully within this month. However, I wanted to get back into doing these types of videos because I really like doing them, and I know some of you like watching them, and also it helps spread War of Champions even further, so it broadens the player base. But anyways, enough talking. This is 2.6. I'm sure a lot of you have already played this version, but if not, go check it out. The links will be in the description, and also go check this patch note blog for yourself on j.games.fandom.com. All right, so this video is going to be split up into three parts. We have the new characters, character balance changes, and other changes like skins or other sort of bug fixes. So let's start with the new characters. So let's go over the first new character, which is Veneto. There are two in this patch. They're both marksmen with secondary mage. Um, so I really wanted to just sort of expand upon the marksman pool because they're kind of generic and boring. So I wanted to mix it up a little bit. So we have Veneto, and we'll just go over each of their abilities. His passive trait is called Training Grounds. He continuously trains as the game goes on, so you can purchase buttons in his trait shop, and you'll grant yourself permanent buffs. So you can gain Resistance 1, Speedness 1, and Jump Boost 2. These all cost 32 nuggets, and all you do, go to the trade shop, purchase the button, activate it in the trade shop, and you'll have those upgrades for the rest of the game. Next is his primary weapon, which is Spear Toss. This is a trident with 0.1 attack speed, so very, very low, not meant to use it as a melee weapon. 8 attack damage, so it does have a damage, but you don't need to use it as a melee weapon because the attack speed is so low. Most importantly, it's enchanted with Loyalty 3. So this is sort of what makes him the marksman, but he's a different type of marksman. He has a cooldown on his ability, but it's Loyalty 3, so it's pretty quick. Um, but yeah, you throw out your spear. It does a set amount of damage. I believe it's around 6 damage. This is Minecraft related, so it's not up to me. Um, but yeah, so that's what makes him a marksman. His primary trait is Tangleweed, which is a bow now, and it comes with arrows that apply slowness 4 for 2 seconds. And also, as always, you can get 16 arrows for 3 nuggets. This is meant to be used sort of to guarantee that your spear tosses are landing, slows down your opponent, and just lets you keep chaining um, spear tosses to kill. It's also very good in combination with the Speedness 1 upgrade, the Resistance 1 upgrade, because Slowness 4 is pretty heavy and it's for 2 seconds. So if you can get it to land, you can reposition yourself. Lastly, we have Respawn Alter, which is his ultimate trait. Has a high cooldown, cost 25 nuggets, and it is when you hold it in your main hand, you stun yourself for like 1 second, and you set your spawn point to the location that you are currently at, and then you remove the item. So it's a one-time use item. It has a high cooldown cost, but its effect is really powerful. It lets you skip completely the 10-second respawn counter, and it puts you right back onto the battlefield wherever you want to be. Now, keep in mind there's some bad uses of this. If your opponent kills you and you just and he knows where you're respawning, he can just continue to kill you again, right? And then you're kind of stuck in a loop. But this can also be extremely powerful. So that's Veneto. I think he's a really good, interesting, sort of agile take on a marksman. Um, Good at chaining things together, and probably will take some skill to master, but it should be a pretty fun character for people to use. Next, we have Cavalice, and this is a dragon, so of course his passive trait has to be that all dragons can fly with an elytra, and it has Curse of Binding. So I haven't said this, but the point of dragons having these is it puts them really high in power because they can invade super early, but they can never get a chest plate because once they equip that elytra, it has Curse of Binding and they cannot remove it ever. Their primary weapon, Cavalice's, is Mind Render. It is a crossbow, so a new crossbow character. Um, it has quick charge 2, so relatively fast, not the fastest, but it has pretty fast charge. It comes with Stardust, which is um, firework rockets. So instead of shooting arrows, you are shooting rockets, so it deals AoE damage rather than single target damage. Additionally, as you know, fireworks can be used with an Elytra, so this allows him to really power through the jungle and sort of keep opponents busy and annoyed, right? Because Stardust is not arrows, it's going to cost 5 nuggets rather than the typical 3 nuggets. Next is his primary trait, Cosmic Stardust. This is a normal potion and it applies invisibility and jump boost 3 for 10 seconds. So it's a pretty long duration. The important thing is that potion effects are not revealed. So you can be super sneaky with something like this and surprise opponents. Lastly, his ultimate trait. This one took a lot to work, um, but I'm really proud of it. It's called Eminence, and basically in your trade shop, you can purchase a button for 20 nuggets. So again, very, very high cooldown cost. But you gain the ultimate traits of all enemy characters. What this means is, for example, let's say you have a Vinvuri and a Varagonda on the enemy team. If you activate Eminence, Cavalice will gain his own copy of a Totem of Undying and the Reigning Queen, which is Vinvuri's ultimate trait. So this is super flexible and very enemy team comp dependent, but can also be super, super strong. Now let's talk about balancing. So I have to bring myself back to April 30th, where this was a pretty interesting meta. Um, Mostly dominated still by the hide and seek comp. So Dendrier needed to be hit. Basically, this balance patch is more so to use to boost other people up. We want people to keep up in the jungle specifically, and you can see Jordan has a lot of changes. So we will get to those, but let's start from the top. So some changes to Chimerin. Didn't love the way Taste of Blood was working in the long run, so it now applies Swiftness 1 for 3 seconds instead of Regeneration 1 for 3 seconds. And this was also because of some redundancy with people like Asmera or even Terra. Um, Having regeneration passively shouldn't be as popular as it is, so I think Swiftness 1 gives Chimerin more flexibility in how he plays. It makes him better at what he is already good at. Additionally, Dragon Portal's cooldown cost is being reduced from 20 to 15 nuggets. It is a lingering potion, unlike some other abilities like the Reigning Queen or Master Voru's ultimate. So it's harder to land, and it also doesn't last as long or cover a big area and zone it for that long. So 15 nuggets I feel like is more appropriate. Next, Dendrier Hide and Seek is great comp. It's Dendrier and Zambivona. If you don't know about it, I highly recommend it. Basically, you just play Dendrier and you can do whatever you want because you have a Zambivona with you at all times because that's how Zambivona works. So, Orderborn, a little too uh, long duration wise. The strength is a bit ridiculous, so I'm going to tone it down a lot. We're decreasing the duration from 20 to 12 seconds. And I want to say something about hide and seek. I don't think it's Zambivona's fault. Um, I'm blaming it more on the fact that Dendria can really have total map control on her own, and just Zambivona being not on the map at all times is a super big benefit. Next, we have Iglard. Um, so Iglard, I didn't love the change for frost consumption that I made during his rework, which gave him 20 armor. I don't love giving characters armor now. I prefer armor toughness because it allows characters to still build armor and have a tool late game to get them through. Because giving characters armor is better early game than late game. So to push Iglard towards late game, I'm nerfing his early game. He doesn't get 20 armor when he upgrades frost consumption. I would suppose that's mid game actually. but instead you gain plus 8 armor toughness. Irilla is getting some changes. I will hint she will probably receive a rework soon. Not a major rework, just something to sort of fine tune her kit. But her Holy Blade attack speed, which is her primary weapon, being increased from 1.6 to 2, so just slightly higher. And Judgment's cooldown cost is decreased from 20 to 15. And this is to see how powerful Judgment is as an ultimate, to see if I need to change it for the rework. Alright, big changes. This is kind of what this patch is all about. Jordan. Um, I think Jordan is an interesting situation. I don't love how she came out, but I love the idea of her kit. So I want to really push it. So these changes don't push it as much as I want to, but it's just a little by little step because I don't want to push it too much and break everything. So Hidden Artifacts is getting some changes. The Iron Sword upgrade Sweeping Edge enchantment is now level 3 rather than 2, and that of course changes for the Diamond Sword upgrade as well. And then the Diamond Sword upgrade cost no longer is more expensive than the others, now it's just back down to 10. That basically means that you can save up gold, um, not gold, nuggets, for the Diamond Sword upgrade alongside your Diamond Sword purchase. Additionally, Shield Bash armor toughness is now plus 15, so really high. So I'm keeping the slowness the way it is, but I'm going to really push the resistance that you gain. And then lastly, the Summon Rush Diamond Armor upgrade cost is decreased from 15 to 8, and this is because um, Rush is a fun trait to use. However, once you use him, you kind of have to use him to his fullest potential. You can't really go back to spawn or like teleport much of anywhere. The good thing about him is he can run over terrain, which is really fun. But I think the diamond armor upgrade is good for certain scenarios, and therefore it should be cost much cheaper than it previously was. So those are all the Jordan changes. I hope any Jordan players out there do like her buffs, and if you want to see more, definitely leave some down in the comments. And if you want to see your favorite character get buffed or changed in any way, make sure you leave it down in the comments. All right, next is Lanier. We're halfway through. Lanier, I kind of wanted to give a sort of neutral change. I don't love that her power level was 3, so I brought it back down to 2 for Coil Fang. And then additionally, because I didn't want to push her down too low, I wanted to make her less impact damage and more damage over time. So her poison tipped arrows duration is now increased from 2 to 4 seconds. So it's poison for 4 seconds rather than 2. Lifos, Crystal Claw was too low of an attack speed. It's really not fun to play Lifos, so I bumped it up to 1, so it should be much better now. You should be able to actually fight early game before you maybe get a different weapon. Mayrosa, Brutal Longsword is no longer granting plus 5 armor toughness. I found Mayrosa really good when you know how to play her and know how to use her to her fullest potential. And then Alkaline Guardian charges are decreased from 4 to 3. So remember, you can't purchase Alkaline Guardians. You can only summon with them when you change forms in your trade shop. So instead of 4, you now have 3 because those do a lot of damage. So I don't want the zone control to be too high with them. Last 3, Nevera. From the Sandstorm's duration is being increased from 10 to 16 seconds. This is a great change, and I'm really happy I made it. So big problem with Nevera is you would use phase, you would get back to spawn, and then you would kind of just try to run back to the fight as quick as possible, but you never make it because it's only 10 seconds. Now with 16 seconds, you have a lot more time. You still probably need to rush there, but it gives you much more flexibility. Sindor, this is kind of like a bug fix, but I'm just calling it a change because it's a buff. Iron Spike Breath, which is on his level 5, level 50, I mean, change, is now enchanted with Impaling 4. It was supposed to be, But for some reason, I thought impaling was piercing, so that's been changed. That was my mistake. Then Fearsome Fireclaw's attack speed is being decreased from 2 to 1.6. There was no reason for it to be at 2, so it's just a little bit of a bump down. And that, I believe, is for his tier 4 upgrade. So level, I think that's 30. Then lastly, we have Terra. Terra's booster pack regeneration effect level is being increased from 3 to 4, so much more healing when booster pack is live, and its duration is now increased from 1 to 3. This is done because when you're holding booster pack, nothing else is going on. It doesn't have knockback on it. You're just holding a item, right? So you're deleting damage from yourself. So now you can either like flick it for a few seconds and then it'll give everybody it for 3 seconds rather than 1, or you can hold on to it and it's a more powerful heal. All right, and lastly, we have just some bug fixes and new skins. So this is sort of the other section of this patch. So some new skins. The Divine skin line is back. This time, no ultimate skins. Sorry about that, but I promise you there's going to be a huge skin event next patch I think you're going to really like with tons of ultimate skins, or at least enough to keep you satisfied, I promise. But this patch, we have another new skin for Casaplat, Divine Casaplat. Has new arrow colors, new Feast Skull skin, all of that jazz. It's 80 emeralds. All of these skins are legendary and they're 80 emeralds. We have Divine Jordan, so Jordan's first skin. And then finally, the long awaited Yivi skin. Divine Yivi is out. And I hope you guys really enjoy those skins, and I hope the player base who enjoys these characters likes them as well. Lastly, I have a quick bug fix. This was kind of an important bug fix. Dendria's Aqua Sense, when I changed the map last patch to be half the size, forgot that Dendria Aqua Sense is based on the entire map. So that's been changed. You can now only teleport to locations that are on the map. So you won't be falling into the void if you don't know what you're doing. And then that's the entire patch. So remember, go check out j.games .fandom.com. And then if you're really into War of Champions, I highly recommend it. Especially, you can come up here, go to Games, War of Champions, Characters, and all of the characters are here. You can read about any one of them. We can go to the new one, Cavalice. There's the art for them, and it has sort of an overview. You have the lore, so if you want to get to know what your favorite character is really about, there's lore for every single one of them. You can read about their abilities, you can read about their playstyles and a recommended build, see any skins or changes they've had in the history, and yeah, so if you ever want to read that, that's there. A lot of people sometimes wonder where patch notes are. They're under downloads, War of Champions downloads, WOC patch notes, and you can read all the patch notes here. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm going to make sure to keep doing these for every single patch. So I'll see you on version 2.7.